This video chart presentation of Cbak Battery. It's a NASDAQ listed stock trading our ticker CBAK. It's a 9-month chart and Cbak here in May. Stock bottomed out around 59 cents. Real strong climb going forward, breaking back above the 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average, and continuing upward path. It's pulled back from the highs at 345 in October and settled down to find a pretty strong support right around $1.95, $2. On Thursday, stock pushed up almost 9%. Relatively thinly traded, 210,000 shares traded on Thursday. That was definitely an increase over previous days. Once again, challenging this 50-day moving average. Want to wrap the week up with this, pay attention to it, see what happens next week as well. See if it can push back above that 50-day, and in general, continue the pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Now, we're not getting a great deal from the MACD, although it is looking like a bullish cross is coming. Stock's just been trending sideways now for a couple months, so we're not seeing a whole lot of strength in the trend. But the MACD holding in pretty close proximity to zero, looking like it's going to drop a bullish cross as the stock tries to move off a support point, is enough to say pay attention to me and see if the chart's going to indeed go through a trend shift. It's a pretty similar look to the PPO. The ADX is down very low. See, only registering a 13.5 right now. The ADX near 10 is just a very low reading. It says there's not much strength in any direction in the chart right now. And plenty of times when that reading's approached, you start to see an uptrend in the ADX as the direction is picked and some strength starts to be added to the move. It's a pretty nice look to the money flow index. All three components now over top of 50. Tells me that people are starting to pay slightly higher prices for the stock. Accumulation distribution, just holding a baseline, starting to curl upward with the buying pressure that came in on Thursday. You can see from the shake and money flow moving upward. There was some pretty heavy selling here a few weeks ago, and that selling pressure started to subside, and now breaking into the green tells me that over the last 20 periods, buying pressure is outweighing selling pressure. CCI running right down the middle of the road. Just tells me the stock price is near its 20-day mean. It's a very neutral reading, but again, coming off the low and moving upward, can be giving hints of a potential move to come. Full stow, down under 20. Some people consider that oversold territory. It doesn't really mean that much to me in that sense. It just tells me that there's no bullish momentum in the stock. On that point, I want to see this full stow moving back upward, and ideally breaking above 50 to show that bullish momentum is being sustained in the play. And the tricks, much like the MACD, just kind of puttering right there around zero. Not a lot of decisiveness to the trend either direction. The buying pressure that came in yesterday got the RSIs moving upward. See all three components that I use, 7, 14, and 21, back over top of 50 now. Becomes an important point that they hold over top of 50 to show that there's bullish momentum staying in the play. You see right through here, middle part of November, RSIs did pop through 50, but they promptly came right back down, dipped back below 50. You can see the stock price came back, fell right back down that support level. So I want to see them holding over top of 50, as in through here. We can see the momentum building, and then taking off, holding over top of 50. Finally, when they're breaking back down, momentum's coming back out of the play. Now, from a support and resistance standpoint, as I mentioned, there's a pretty nice support level right there around $1.95. It was a definitive resistance point back in July. The stock had a hard time moving through it and holding above it. Finally broke out in September. And in classic TA fashion, that old resistance served as support. And you can see that support level has been held ever since. So it's very important that this stock doesn't continue to push upward right away. It wants to slide back down. That support level's held, because if it fails, the next place it'll probably pick up some strong supports down here around this 200-day moving average, all the way back down around $1.50. So I'd pay close attention to that support point. On the resistance side of things, I think certainly some is going to come in around $2.50. Which is still more than a 10% upside at the first level of resistance. But importantly, it'll be breaking through that 50-day moving average, taking on a much more bullish look. And I wouldn't see resistance picking up heavily again until up near these highs of $3 that were hit in October. As I mentioned, volume's pretty light in this play. Of course, I always want to see it pick up to break through any resistance levels. That really gets the momentum and trend kicking it in gear, and would lend support to the idea that it might go through and test these old highs. But be that as it may, you can see even through here when the stock made a nice climb, volume remained relatively low, so I wouldn't pin any hopes on seeing big spikes in volume just to help this stock start to climb higher. It's a pretty nice looking chart though. We always look for ones that are sitting at support levels and have a nice upside to the resistance point as part of an overall upward trend. So this one we'll throw on radar to see how it performs. But as always, merely my interpretation of the Cbak chart. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.